Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on episode 4 of Popcorn and Opinions. I'm Popcorn, Owen Shaw, and over here we have Opinions, Harisin Kylesum. So, I have got an interesting one for you today. Something where the reason is actually being, how can I say, super clued up about. It's the F1 movie. Bum bum ba da dum bum bum bum. Yeah, what do you think? Reason?
That was a fantastic intro, fantastic. We definitely gonna get you on the F1 train on that thing. So yeah, anyway, basically F1 has been very near and dear to me for a very, very long time. I think 20 years now. I've been watching the
Wow.
sport. Yeah, I know. I started when I
Aren't
was
you like
five,
26?
literally.
Yeah, yeah. What? You're 25 today. Or not today, sorry. Of this year.
I'm 25 this year, so yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Fondest memories was on a Sunday, my dad and my sister used to let us watch
Mm.
Formula One and always loved the sport. So, yeah, it was a
Okay.
big deal when they announced the F1 movie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
notoriously, racing films don't do well,
Yeah.
just I think because of the nature of it, and people try to make a drama out of something that isn't quite like that sort of
Okay.
thing.
So you want the
So,
race thrill to be fully captured in a movie, right?
yeah, but that's also the problem, especially with racing films and because like with F1, it's not a new sport. It's been around for so long that you it like kind of has the fan base in two, where it's like the casuals or the newer generation versus the older generation of fans. I
Okay.
would say I fall part of the older generation. So it's like we're more into realism and more into, okay,
Mm.
cool, this is how it works. We're not there about theatrics and stuff. We're there about to respect the sport, respect uh
Mm.
what we've been watching for so long.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's very difficult to get all aspects in one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man, I think we're in for an exciting episode. So on the other hand, or a quick comment that I'd like to mention, you were there before the Halo days, right? You were there before an F1 car had a Halo. So
Yeah,
just for our audience, those who don't watch F1, so the Halo is this circular, like it's almost like a roll cage for an F1 car that protects their
pretty much.
heads. And before, like, how can I say, F1 cars weren't too aerodynamic and they would like roll over. The driver's head would crash into the ground, or a flying tire could hit the driver in the head, and that could all like cause some serious casualties. So the reason's been there for this time in the transitioning of F1, the safety thereof, all the rules, the regulations, the FIA things, which is of course you can also jump into some definitions if you'd like, because I'm not the
Yeah,
F1 knowledge hub.
yeah. No, like I get what you mean. So basically, yeah, I've been through a lot of regulation changes. So I've seen the sport from where it was to where it is, to where it was going to where it is now.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like I've always been a diehard fan of F1. So I was really, really excited when I heard that F1 was making a movie. Like it was like finally the closest thing we had to an F1 movie in a way was Rush. And I
Hmm.
felt that movie was absolutely phenomenal. I really liked it in terms
Yeah.
of the way they represented the story between James Hunt and Niki Lauda. So
Hmm.
that was an iconic rivalry that will be in the history of F1 forever. So that there was that. I really like the way they captured it, as well as the cars and the era. It was fantastic. Like
Yes.
there was just
Within its
enough
timeline.
off drama versus on track drama, and they really highlighted a lot of great things.
Okay.
That's to
So,
say,
okay, yeah,
yeah, go for it.
I'd like to then cue our first bit of debating of this F1 movie, the one that was released this year. I'm not sure about which month it was released, but it was, I think, about 3 months ago. So tell me about the F1 movie starring Brad Pitt as Sonny Hayes. Tell me, what was your thoughts and what would you give it as a rating out of 10?
I honestly feel I set myself up for failure with this movie because like
Wow.
I had so much of expectation coming in, but I also blame that in part to F1 because they were also hyping up this movie to be so awesome. That all these drivers are gonna like in terms of Lewis Hamilton is gonna be co-producing this thing. He's gonna be over there doing that, and they were saying how it's gonna represent the sport, and then watch the movie w- wasn't that wasn't that appealing. Out of 10,
Okay.
I would give it a solid 4.3.
Whoa, that's low. That's low.
Yes.
For an F1 fan,
I
that's
want
low.
to ask you about your things first. I want to ask you what your thoughts were on the movie and stuff like that. And then I'll tell you into why I give my verdict.
Okay,
So, on to you.
so before then you give your verdict, I'll quickly run through my verdict as well. So then we can build on it because I think you've got a lot more knowledge in F1. So I'd like to explore your opinions as a Mister Opinions today. So the F1
Sure.
movie for me, if I can say out of 10, I'd give it an 8. I enjoyed it. It had its fair bit of drama, and res- respective of the drama, it also went into the, how can I say, racing aspects. So let's face it, Brad Pitt knows how to make a good movie. He's a star actor. I'd say he's a triple A actor. So he knows what goes into a movie. Sure, it's not just him. And kudos to Lewis Hamilton also producing this, or co-producing this. Of course, Lewis Hamilton is a racer, so I think he also put in some racing things. I didn't watch the behind the scenes at all, but I did see a few scenes going in and about of itself. So just to cut back to the what I think about this movie, I think it was great. There was great racing scenes. There was great inattention between the team itself, from going from a zero to a hero position, scoring their first point just to make it on to the official like leaderships, or not leaderships. You know what I mean? The teams, etc., etc. But I think it was awesome. The whole build up was great. So give me your verdict, Mister
Okay.
Curiosity, dark and broody here in the corner, keeping it away from us all.
Okay, cool. Well, why I gave it a 4.3 is because firstly, plot was terrible, right? The plot was terrible, right? Secondly, they said it's supposed to represent a sport. It didn't, right? Okay, so
Okay.
firstly, let's go on to this first because like I actually watched the movie yesterday again, and I was like, I hope my second time watching it, it's gonna be better. It was not. It was
Okay.
he made it worse because
You made it
firstly,
worse. Wow.
plot, right? An old driver that has been out of the sport for 30 years, 3 decades, you're telling me is putting the car half a second behind a new rookie, right? Either this rookie is really trash or Sonny Hayes is Michael Schumacher. I'm sorry. No.
Okay.
And he did it in the first lap. That's not like, I mean, I get it, but look at it, right? You can't just step in. Like, I get it, he was in other categories and racing like that, but you can't just get in and drive an
Mm-hmm.
F1 car. You can't do that.
Okay.
There's so
Well,
much of work. not even in terms of the driving, in terms of the car settings and stuff. It's literally a computer.
Yeah. Okay,
So
that's a good
that's
point.
the first one,
Hmm.
right? Second point, right, would be in terms of they made a mockery of the rules and regulations of F1, right? In terms of, firstly, if you go back to, okay, I would say the second race. The second race is when they're in Hungary, where it's plan C for chaos. My
Okay.
guy deliberately crashed so many times. Where was the penalties? Where was the black and white flags? Where were those things? He's purposefully doing this, right? And secondly, he's on the radio saying all of this. The FIA can hear that. So
So
where
there's an
is
FIA
the
person
realism in
listening
that?
into. So there's an FIA person listening into all of the conversations in the real life situation, right?
Well, technically yes, but technically as well, it's also broadcast to the entire entire world.
Well,
So,
yeah.
like,
Okay.
yeah, the F1 radio. So when, like, in certain strategy calls, when you click the radio, like, if it's a really impactful moment, or like saying, okay, cool, if the leader says, hey, I need to change tires now, this is what we're going to do, or this kind of
Okay.
stuff to build tension and stuff, they will put that on the F1 TV feed. So you'll be able to hear that. So it gives more
So the
context to different strategy calls.
so the drivers themselves choose to broadcast to the world or not.
No, 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 no. That's the actual television crew that does that. But the
Okay.
FIA can listen in to the well, they typically put it to the teams. The teams put it through to the FIA, but I think the FIA can also listen to because I know the broadcasters, like in terms of the commentators, can listen into all the radios. So
Okay.
there's always going to be chatter on that. So I mean, like you're
Okay.
deliberately
So
doing things that is going to be, uh, firstly, dangerous driving, right? Which is a complete and like
mm,
there was no penalties, no fine, no nothing of the sort. He's still okay to drive. That didn't make sense.
okay.
And the entire plot, I'm like, it was very poorly written. Like it really did make a mockery of the sport because like in this when I watched the second race, I was like, fantastic, the visuals are great. Like I love the visuals of the
Mm,
movie. But
okay.
no, like when I was there, I nearly threw my shoe at the screen. I was irritated. Like
Okay.
because I'm
So
like I've watched the sport for so long and they're making a
yeah.
mockery.
So apparently, Mr. Opinions have a super strong opinion regarding this movie, and I'm actually happy to hear all of this. And I think it's about time our listeners understand there is a bit of a not everybody always agrees about the same things. So, and
100%.
after this, how can I say, podcast, we can definitely determine and see if this a movie in general, between if we were calculators, both of us, then we can determine, okay, is this movie a great watch or no? So that's always the point of our podcast. To jump in a little bit further in regards to the movie is, I think the points that you generally generally refer to is the
Hmm.
realism, and I agree with that a lot, and I think that's awesome that you created that reference to Rush in the beginning. So, um, I mean, you could have heard Niki Lauda saying the car is a box. So saying
Yeah.
that it's not performing like it should. So, and it's almost too good to be true that this underperforming team in the F1 movie, this new one, 2025, from zero to hero so quick, just by a floor adjustment to the, like,
Yes.
that sidewall floor.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Once again, it is also aerodynamics, and but the whole idea of this movie is, I hate to say it, it's plot armor and it's also created to make it a make it feel like, okay, we can be the underdogs, but we can make it. And man, I'm a sucker for a story like that. So that's why I'd ultimately say I enjoyed the movie. So not for an F1, how can I say, not guru, I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. So um, looking at it to the dramatic effect that this race had, the crash that Joshua Pierce had when just taking the curb wrong, I think that was at least also a bit of realism. Um, and I mean,
That those are
as a,
those that's actually a true event that actually happened.
yeah,
So if you
that
don't mind
happened
me
too.
jumping in on that one,
Yeah, please do.
that incident right at Monza where he hit the bump and flew into the air, that actually happened recently, like in the last, I can't remember when, but it was an F2 race actually. So in F1, there's
Wow.
different category. Well, in motorsport, there's different categories. So like there's F3, F2, and then F1. Right. So and but there's also F4, but we don't talk about that. So yeah, anyway, so basically in F2 there was this one guy that went around Parabolica, and because they call it sausage curbs, so it's basically there to deter the drivers from going off the basically putting all four wheels off the racing track, because what happens there is if you go wider, you can slingshot your way out. So they put the sausage curbs there to inhibit that from happening, because now you're gonna hit this thing, it's gonna drop your speed, and you it keeps you in line basically. So what
Mm,
happened
okay.
was there was an incident where the one driver actually hit it, and his car flew into the air and hit the
Mm,
barriers. And
yeah.
then the fire scene, that is a reference from Roman
From
Grosjean's
Roman Grosjean,
accident in uh, what was it? It was
2021, I think.
yeah,
22.
yeah, in Bahrain. Yes, in
Okay.
there's somewhere in Bahrain. I think it was the 2021 season. So where his car basically blew up and was on fire,
Yeah.
like that was insane. So they were
That hit
taking
me. Yeah, that hit me hard because I'm a Roman Grosjean fan, actually. So I
really.
remember that
You're saying you're
thoroughly.
a
Yeah,
Lance
I
Stroll
am.
fan. Please don't tell
Nah,
me you're a Lance
man.
Stroll fan.
No, 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 no. But I do
Yeah,
support
because
Haas.
I
I
don't think
do.
anyone's out
I
there.
do support Haas. Haas. Well, I did support Haas, but that was when Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen was in the team. But
Oh,
now I
okay, okay.
support Kick Sauber because man, I just love Nico Hülkenberg. He's what a guy. Can I also just say, in a different, in a like hopping off the point
Parallel
of the
universe.
F1 movie and what all parallel universe. Why did they give Nico Hülkenberg his first ever podium trophy as a Lego trophy? Yo, I was mad, mad, mad.
Yeah, at least he got it. Like after so long. I mean,
Sure, but I mean your very first trophy. Imagine going to a Lego shop a week after that, and yet you find a buildable version of your trophy, right?
at least he can have two trophies then.
That 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 no, no. But yeah, okay. So let's jump back into the F1 movie.
I don't think people thought he was going to win there. I don't think they thought he was going to be top three. Like no one.
You
I
know,
don't even think he thought that.
man, I would have stole was it Lando that won that race? I think
Yes, unfortunately, he did.
I
We
would
did
have
win that race.
stolen Lando's trophy. I'm kidding. We don't encourage stealing in this show, by the way. So none of that. But let's jump into the F1 movie again. So in the sense of the realism and all that
Or
contributing
the lack
factors,
thereof of realism.
or perhaps the lack thereof, I think there was some realism factors that seemed real to me. But for a guru like yourself, you felt that there is a lack thereof. So we're at a
Okay, can I
we're at
tell
a
you
theory of
why
relativity.
why I'm so emotional about this? Right, and it's
Okay.
not just because I'm a diehard F1 fan. Okay, in part, yes, I am a diehard
Yeah,
F1 fan.
die hard
But
F1 fan.
it's
Yes.
because the fact that Lewis Hamilton co-produced this movie, so
Okay.
he had creative input on these things. He is a racing driver, and he approved of the story. He said, "You know what? This is
Ah.
great." Like I get like some of the stuff that he did, like in terms of improving the car over the season, like great. But other than that, I'm like, he could have done he could have done way better. So
Okay.
I was disappointed.
Okay. And I mean that coming from a Lewis Hamilton fan. Am I right?
Exactly. I've
So
supported this Oki for so long.
okay. So let's dive into a little bit of the characters. So you didn't like the plot, and so it goes. But what did you think about let's say his name was Ruben, which is the team owner. What did you think about Ruben? He was his Sonny Hayes' previous teammate in their previous F1 days.
Ruben reminds me of team owners back in the day.
Okay.
Like the no, like I mean like in the early times of F1 where they were
Okay.
just like gung ho and it was just be the rebels sort of thing. Like that's what I got from it, and it was very like nostalgia because like, okay, cool. It's not everything's professional and stuff like that. It's you know what, we're here to survive, we're here to do things, but let's do it in a cool way, I guess. What
So
did you think?
apologies, I've got some dogs going wild in the background. I think there's a few people walking past our house, so do excuse us from this. So, and this is also a test to we're not robots. So we actually have dogs. We've got normal lives going on. So, um, I like Ruben. I think he had some sass. I think he had some contributing factors to Sonny Hayes' transition into F1. He wanted to put meaning into the F1 team, and let's face it, Ruben was about to lose the team, so he took a wild shot, and it felt. I'm saying it again. It felt like that zero to a hero. It felt like man, it's fiction. Oh, why this old driver? But let's face it, that old school attitude from both Ruben and Sonny Hayes, putting in that feel, that how can I say that synergy into the team, making them believe again, making them feel like a team again. I thought that was nice, and that was something Joshua Pierce. So this is my nutshell of all the characters. That's something Joshua Pierce didn't get right. And with that being said, Sonny Hayes pulled Joshua Pierce back to the ground. And all thanks to Ruben taking that chance on Sonny Hayes.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But still, like, okay. Um, Look, I like Sonny Hayes as a character, but like, okay, firstly, his moves on track, like in terms of when he actually did clean moves, yes, there were very few of them, but they were there. Um, he did exceptionally. Like, I like the way that he was also fighting for the team, like if it was his own, which was also great. So yeah, but then also I feel like Joshua Pierce reminded me of young talent that come into F1 where they think they're the best. And that's
Mm-hmm.
completely understandable. Like you've
Yeah,
been winning in other categories. Of course, you're coming in here and there's an old guy. You're thinking, okay, cool, I'm just gonna run him over. Like it's gonna be
yeah,
I'm just gonna win. And like I get that, but that also comes with like the maturity sense of it. Like in terms of if you look at a lot of drivers when they first come in, they want to be hot shots and stuff like that. But then as they go through the rank, as they go through the seasons, they start to mellow down and be like, okay, cool. Um, let's it's everything's for the team. But when you first come in, it's like it's for me and me alone. So I get that,
Okay,
and I
but
really like
yeah,
that side of that dynamic of once here being like I'm a veteran. I know what it is to be in your shoes, but I also know how to control that. Versus that's why I feel like Sunny really in some instances when he was shutting down Joshua, it was because it was like he's speaking to himself again, like when he was younger.
yeah, the younger version of Sonny Hayes when he was in that position.
Hmm. So what did you
Yeah.
think of the technical director, well, the one director, aerodynamics,
I think her name's Kate,
Kate?
right? Yeah, yeah. So Kate, uh, Irish lady, if I've got it
Yes,
correct. I
yeah,
no, let me tell you. I think sass in a movie is one of my favorite things. Like that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, buddy. I don't have time for your attitude. And that was something I thought, man, Sonny is a hothead, right? Let's face it, he grew up a hothead, he remains a hothead, that's just his personality. But for Kate, just to say, like, throwing him with beer and say, you're not, like, getting, I don't know, my attention that
Sunny
easily
Hayes
from a romance
wasn't.
perspective.
I was gonna quote the one line. It's like they're not saying Sunny Hayes uh, was a something. He was a never was.
That's cold. That's
Yeah, I
cold.
know. Like, yo,
Damn.
I
I mean,
was.
you're just trying to talk up this chick, and she's like, he was a never worse. Eesh. That hurts.
Yeah, I
That
get
hurts
you.
where it shouldn't. But I appreciated her like technical knowledge, her willingness to go from an aerospace division, right, and going into F1. So I think that's cool. Her knowledge isn't totally captured in the movie itself. So I think more of their romance is captured, like where they go from strangers to talking to other things we can't mention on this podcast. But so yes, I think there was this one scene where she was working on her computer, going through the aerodynamics, which made that sense of man, there's hope. This team can do it. So it was awesome seeing her belief in the team, her own technical knowledge and expertise, and that was like a nutshell scene. So it was nice. I liked her character, and of course gave. Could we say it gave Sonny an extra reason to drive?
You maybe, but you know what? From that, I'll get onto this, right?
Okay.
Sunny asked her, "Can she build a car for combat?" She's like, "Why should like?" She basically like, "Why should I listen to you?" I'm, I was completely shocked when she said that because I'm like, how stupid do you have to be to say that to your driver? Because that's one person you should be listening to because he's driving the car. Like he would tell you what's going on. I get you have sensors and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
remember, these drivers get paid millions to go around a track very fast and to develop a car because they know what's going on. They
Yeah,
don't
and
have to know about aerodynamics to tell you how they are working on the car because they're driving it.
basically, yeah, and I mean that would be the same as to assume. Let's say that you tell the doctor this is this and this and this is how I feel. Then it's for the doctor to determine. Okay, so Owen is feeling like this. this could be this and this and this. Let's do this for a week, and if you're not better, then it's definitely this. Does that make sense? So I agree with that point
No, I
completely.
you know what it would be? It would be the doctor giving you a prescription, right?
Yeah.
And you're telling the doctor, no, no, this is
Okay.
what's wrong with me. You get what I mean?
Get you
It's
what you mean.
telling the expert, somebody that's driving the car, how to drive the car.
Oh. Okay. So
That's
I
what I
was
mean.
thinking Kate was the doctor and Sonny was the patient, saying, "No, doctor, this is how I feel." And she knows from a top-down perspective what is wrong, or a doctor knows from a top-down like perspective what is wrong with the body. So to heal like the symptom, we have to look at the whole type of spiel going on. But okay,
100%. Like,
cool.
yeah, so that was very stupid. Also,
Okay,
if you think about it, so Kate's character, well, I would say is based on Claire Williams. So Claire Williams is was one of the first. I think she is the old. Well, she was the first female team principal of Williams. She
oh right.
inherited the team from her father, who was
Okay,
I don't remember his Frank Williams, I think it was. So yeah, Williams is a very
sounds
iconic
familiar.
brand. They've been around in F1 for many years. So yeah, I just thought I'd add that in there
Okay,
just
thank
to
you.
flex my F1 knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to show who's the technical expert in this field.
I'm not gonna lie to you. In real life, if I hear anyone talk about F1, I'm like, I'm taking a seat, I'm putting it
Focused.
there, and I'll chat to you for like an hour or two on that
Okay,
because this is just
okay.
such a passionate sport I've loved for so long.
So tell me then, talking now about about your love in F1 again. What is your favorite team and why?
Okay, my favorite team has been Mercedes Petronas F1 team. I've been with them for more than 10 years, ever since Lewis joined. So basically, I've always been a Lewis fan,
Okay,
and so when he was in McLaren, I used to support the driver, right? And I really
okay,
liked McLaren. Then when he went to Mercedes, I said, "Cool, we're gonna make the jump to Mercedes. Let's go." And I really fell in love with the culture of Mercedes and everything that Hamilton was doing. And I was like, "Cool, we're gonna." I've been supporting the team now. When he went to Ferrari, I was like, "I am not following him there. Sorry, I'm sticking with my Mercedes. I've been with them for more than 10 years." And I was like, cool, you know what? Ah, it's just it's been so crazy to see how they've evolved during the years and see where they're at now. And like, there's been some troubling seasons that we've had, but we're still
yeah.
doing good. Okay, so tell me, what is your favorite team?
Before I go on, I lost you a bit. I've heard everything, but you sound a little bit robotish. So if you can just quickly check on how your internet is standing. Not sure if you can still hear me fine.
Yeah, you know,
Perfect. Okay, so my favorite F1 team. I, don't call me typical at all, please. By no means call me typical. It's Red Bull, and
typical.
it's because I like it's because I like Max Verstappen, and there's not a lot of people that like him, but there's a lot of
End the
people that like
podcast
him.
right
He's got
now.
his own theme song. They, there's a lot of people that do like him, and he's got his own theme song, as I just mentioned. I'm a fool. I'm a full
He's a pro.
Verstappen fan. Whoa, pause, pause, man. So okay, let's get back into the F1 movie again, because our time is running a bit on the shy side. So, what did you think about the visual effects? You mentioned visual effects earlier, and then we're gonna hop on to the music. Of course, every movie has got a soundtrack.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of the visual effects, fantastic. Like I like the opening scene with the Porsches. Like the camera work was incredible. Like I sometimes wish I was like, can't we have this camera in actual F1 live feeds? It would make it so good.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I really like that. Like the visual aspects of it was great, and it really captured a lot of F1, which was really nice.
Okay.
I just
Nice.
wish if there's one thing I could say, there's one thing I could say from this movie. I just wish there was more interaction between Apex and the actual teams.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, we had a moment where Joshua Pierce was eyeing Lewis Hamilton, but I'm sure Lewis Hamilton had a finger in the pie over there. So he was like, "Okay, let's look at each other. Let's be broody or something." But so there was interactions, and if I can recall, there was also an interaction where Sonny Hayes said he was chasing Verstappen um, upon when his car, the Apex team was good. So and then both him and Verstappen was like neck on neck, and he said, "Man, this guy's good." So that was cool. It also had a nice effect and feel to it. So yeah, further on visual effects, and then we hop on to the music.
Yeah,
So I'd say on visual effects, it was amazing. If you're a TikTok scroller, if you're an Instagram reel person, there's a lot of edits that could have been made out of the movie itself. So I thought it was amazing. Though looking at the livery of the Apex team was also amazing. So and looking at all the fighting between teams and the crashes and the slow mos, it was stunning. It was stunning. For music, it was a great. I still listen to the how can I say playlist till today. So there's
same
three
here.
songs I'd
There's some
nice.
absolute bangers.
There's three songs I listen to. So as a salesman or pre-salesman, I actually moved to a new department for a temporary time. More about that later if you guys want to add that in the comments. But usually before I would make a call, Chris Stapleton, "Bad as I Used to Be," that song I'd listen when I want to get into the mood of calling.
You know what?
Oh, my,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
I'm sorry about
Carry on,
that.
sorry.
Basically, 100%. So bad as I used to be is on my top three. So it's that. Lose My Mind is first, and Drive by Ed
Okay.
Sheeran, which I was actually disappointed was, and I didn't actually hear it in the movie, which I'm taking another minus off because uh, I'm adding another minus onto the movie because they didn't have that song in there. Messy is also very nice. Um, Underdog is good. Basically, a lot of the
Okay.
songs are great. Like I can listen to them, and that's what I really like about the soundtrack. It's like what makes a great movie soundtrack is when you can listen to it outside of it without any context, and the beat is great.
Okay, I agree with you, and so I'd say "Messy" is also a good song. We mentioned "Bad as I Used to Be," "Lose My Mind." I would lose my mind every time I listen to that song. It's a
It's such a
fun
good song.
song. It's this yeah, but it's amazing. I'd always play it when I'm on my way somewhere, in the car, back from work. However, put in my Samsung earbuds or whatnot. So we've got bangers, and I think that's something that contributed with the visual effects and made it a good feel movie. So um, I think I think we're almost ready for our final say. What do you say, Mr. Opinion?
Sure. All right. So let me ask you this question: Is it a rewatchable, or is it going in the regrets category?
So in terms of the in terms
Regrettable.
of regrettable,
Regrettable.
It's maybe we'll say that's regrettable today. So it's in the how can I say regrettable section, since well, for me it's rewatchable, and I'll explain why.
It's rewatchable
I
or
I
regrettable?
I think for both of us to mix our, what's um that thing of Dragon Ball Z where they like came together with,
Fusion.
yeah, fusion. I think ours would be regrettable, but for me it's rewatchable. So I like the stunning elements. I like the music. I like the acting. The acting was good for me. The overall feel that I had from the movie was nice, except the end. I think at least Brad Pitt or Sonny Hayes himself could have stayed in F1 because there was all the effort put into being in this F1 team, and which didn't sit right with me. So after this whole conversation, I'd make this movie out of 10 rewatchable, and it's a 6. No, I'd say it's a 7. No, let's say 6.5.
Okay, so for the first time, I'm gonna say this movie is definitely a regrettable. I'm not gonna lie to you. After listening to
That's
this podcast, I
crazy.
won't even watch the movie because it's that bad. Like, if you want a good F1 movie, watch Rush, please. Just do that because
Yeah.
no, it made a mockery of the sport that I've loved and it has been dear to my heart for so long. Plot terrible.
Sure.
It was
That's
just
crazy.
so bad, and I really it, it, I wouldn't recommend it. It's two. I think it's 2.5 hours. There's two and a
Okay.
half hours that you could watch paint dry. That would be more entertaining.
Okay, so you'd rather than watch an episode of perhaps Drive to Survive or few
Yes,
episodes
Drive to Survive
than
is better. Like I wish Drive to Survive directed this thing. Like it was so much better because yes, I get it. Like they even fabricate their own stuff there, but no, the plot here was just terrible. Like they could have
uh,
taken okay, hear me out, right? Hear me out. Since you're a Max Verstappen fan, they could have
mhm.
taken the plot from 2021. Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton, the rivalry. Easiest thing they could have done. This movie took 3 years in development to make, but they decided to go in this direction. And I was like, there's so many other stories you could have done. Okay, Rush was the Nicky Lauda and James Hunt. You could have done on the rivalry of Alan Prost and Ayrton Senna. You could have done that. You could have done the iconic rivalry between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. You could have done the rivalry between Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. You could have done Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. I know Lewis Hamilton is in a lot of these ones, but yes, you could
Yeah,
have
and
done
you
all of
recommend
those
him.
things.
Yeah. Mm.
You
So,
could have done so
damn.
much.
Yeah. Okay.
You could have
In
even
terms, so
done
I think.
Michael Schumacher.
Oh yeah,
Michael
that would.
Schumacher, Alonso.
Okay. Okay. I get you. That's a good one. That's a very good one. So I think
Iconic line.
after
130R. I knew he was going to break because he has a wife and kids. Simple. You could have made a movie just on that
oh,
title.
super cold from him. But it worked. It worked for him. So that wraps up our episode for today. Still, we're not disincentivizing a movie from your experience at all. This is, of course, popcorn and opinions. So this is what we think of the movies. So by all means, after hearing this, we've actually spoiled so much. But if you still like this, drop a comment, say you liked it. That'll help my case definitely. But yeah, I go have fun. Go see if you like it. See if you agree with what Reeson said about the technical elements. And yeah, I think this movie lost on technical elements um, in at large, but could have definitely like remained a good movie when it stick to racing pure and going into the acting elements as well, not foregoing
Yeah,
profit.
okay, wait, can I just before we go off, right? I'll just be like this. Even looking at the F1 movie, there was always going to be two factions about it. It was either going to be
Yeah,
you're really going to like it or you're really going to not like it. Sure, a lot of people really going to like it. That's 100% cool. You do that, but in my opinion, I just didn't like it. So yeah, but anyway,
yeah.
I don't want you to not watch the movie. If you want to watch it. By all
Hmm.
means, go for it, and then make your own mind up on it. But yeah, this is just
Absolutely.
our opinions. So get some popcorn and go watch a movie.
I love it. All right. Cheers, guys. And perhaps
Bye.
sometime very soon we'll. So
Be strutting
he
our
wants to
stuff.
go. He wants to go. And me, I was actually hoping to tease. Okay, maybe we'll get you guys on the next episode. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Bye.